were a Republican.
Yes. Yes. So I'm testing the big tent to see if the tent is really big or not. And I will just testify, yes, the tent is big. I've been well received within the Democratic Party. And these issues that I've spoken of are really partly my driving force for having become a Democrat. They're not really speaking points or passions for the Republican Party. And so it was an easy decision to switch parties and align myself with a party that has a language for these issues.
And that would be
social justice issues. Correct.
I think we have to follow through on the obligations and the promises we made to the people who work for us in the state, and we can't afford to do something about it. We do have a problem with our pension, as all defined benefit pension plans have in the private sector and the public sector. So like them, with low interest rates, for the past 6 years, except for last year, poor investment returns, we do have a problem, no question about it. We don't have a crisis. We need to follow through on the promises we made to our state employees and to our teachers, and I think we can figure out a way to do that. So I would look for ways to do that in the public sector in the same way we in the private sector are dealing with exactly the same problem, all of us who have defined benefit pension plans.
And also as treasurer, we've had record-breaking investment returns. We've dramatically reduced the risk profile, in particular, of the largest pension fund in Pennsylvania, one of the largest in the country, the public school professionals one, which is called PEASers. So I'm very proud of our track record there. The real tragedy, I really think of it as a scandal at this point, is what's fundamentally becoming employer neglect, meaning the state has written itself a hall pass too many times to skip class or to skip payment. And essentially, anybody running for governor in 2010 was given very full and adequate warning that you had to pay, in essence, the credit card bill that had been rung up. If you weren't going to pay that bill, don't run for governor. So you're looking and saying there's an unfunded liability of roughly $43 billion. And on a bipartisan basis in 2010, they came to a constructive compromise, and they actually got the unions to agree to reduce, and I helped with this, to reduce the employer calculator for new employees, to reduce the liability in the long run. It was a blended average of a solution that would dramatically reduce the total cost of public pensions in the long run. But in the near term, we had to make sure that over time, on what they called a collared basis, we were paying the bills that came due. Lo and behold, Governor Corbett makes a silly pledge, sort of sets his hair on fire during the campaign, and then has been trying to put it out ever since with the hammer when he's been governor. And he's saying, oh, we can't possibly afford to do this. Well, lo and behold, they will be able to afford to do this. I'll bet you will actually see them comply with the law this year, because they weren't able to get the law changed, in part because on a bipartisan basis, including, I think, a variety of Republicans have said, wait a minute, if you shortchange this or do what you're proposing, it actually increases the unfunded liability at the end of your term. And anybody who intends to be in office after Tom Corbett leaves office will have a bigger credit card bill to pay as a result of giving him and his budget office relief. It's just a foolish set of proposals. It's sort of a dine and dash approach. And instead of, they're calling it reform, but it's basically saying, just let me get away with not paying my credit card bill. It's really too bad. It makes the problem worse, not better.